Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you something. When life hits you, when the storm comes, when pressure is high and everything around you is breaking apart, can you stay calm? Can you keep your mind still when the world is loud? Because let me tell you this, strength is not in how hard you hit. Strength is in how calm you can stay when life hits you. See, most people panic, they react, they let emotions take control. And when emotions take control, wisdom walks out the door. But the ones who win, the ones who rise, they train their minds to be calm, focused, unshakable. Strength is not in how hard you hit, but in how calm you stay when life hits you. Most people think strength is about power, about force, about pushing through with sheer will. But real strength is in the mind, is in the ability to remain unshaken when everything around you is falling apart. It's not about how much force you apply, it's about how much force you can take without losing control. Because life will hit. It will hit hard and it will hit when you least expect it. The question is not whether you will face challenges. The question is whether you will face them with fear or with focus. Think about a boxer in the ring. A great fighter is not the one who throws wild punches out of desperation. It's the one who knows how to take a hit, absorb the impact, and remain composed. A fighter who panics, who swings recklessly, who loses focus because they let their emotions take over, that's the one who gets knocked out. The same principle applies to life. You can't control every situation. You can't stop the unexpected from happening. But what you can control is your reaction. You can train yourself to stay calm, to think, to strategize, instead of simply reacting. Most people let their emotions dictate their actions. Anger, fear, frustration. These emotions rise up in difficult moments and they take control. And when emotions take control, reason disappears. That's why people make the worst decisions when they're upset. That's why people say things they regret, make choices they can't take back, and sabotage their own success just because they let their emotions take over. But the strongest minds don't operate like that. The strongest minds don't let circumstances dictate their inner state. They train themselves to be still even in the storm. Imagine a storm at sea. The waves are crashing, the wind is howling, and the surface of the water is chaotic. But deep beneath, in the depths of the ocean, everything is still. No matter how violent the storm is above, the deep waters remain untouched. That is what a trained mind is like. The outside world may be full of noise, of chaos, of pressure, but a disciplined mind does not get carried away by the storm. It stays deep, focused, and unshaken. There will be moments in life when everything seems to be going wrong, moments when frustration creeps in, when setbacks come one after another, when it feels like you can't catch a break. And in those moments, most people break. They throw their hands up, they lash out, they let stress take over. But if you train yourself to stay calm, to take a step back, to breathe and assess the situation instead of reacting impulsively, you put yourself in control. And when you are in control of your mind, you are in control of the situation. Look at the greatest leaders, the most successful people in the world. They are not the loudest in the room. They are not the ones who act on impulse. They are the ones who know how to keep their emotions in check, who think before they act, who stay calm under pressure. A leader who panics in a crisis is a leader who loses the trust of their team. But a leader who stays composed, who moves with confidence, even in uncertainty, that's the leader people follow. That's the leader who finds solutions when others are stuck in fear. Calmness is a superpower. It is not weakness. It is not passivity. It is the ultimate form of control. It is the ability to master yourself before you attempt to master anything else. A calm mind is a focused mind. And a focused mind is a powerful mind. Because when your mind is clear, you see opportunities others miss, you find solutions others overlook, you make decisions based on wisdom, not emotion. But this kind of control does not come naturally. It has to be trained. Just like a soldier trains for battle, just like an athlete trains for competition, the mind must be trained for life. You have to practice stillness. You have to practice breathing through difficult moments. You have to practice controlling your thoughts, choosing patience over reaction, choosing clarity over chaos. Every day, life gives you opportunities to practice. The moment someone cuts you off in traffic and you want to lash out, that's a training moment. The moment someone criticizes you and you want to react defensively, that's a training moment. The moment something unexpected happens and your first instinct is to panic, that's a training moment. Each time you choose calmness over chaos, you build strength. Each time you pause before reacting, you become more powerful. And over time, that control becomes second nature. You become the person who doesn't flinch in the face of adversity. You become the person who remains steady when others are falling apart. You become the one who sees clearly when everyone else is blinded by panic. That is real strength. That is real power. That is the mark of someone who is truly unstoppable. When emotions take control, wisdom walks out the door. It happens in an instant. One moment you are thinking clearly, making rational decisions, moving toward your goals. The next, something happens. Someone says the wrong thing, a situation doesn't go as planned, pressure builds up, and suddenly emotions flood your mind. And in that moment, wisdom is no longer in charge. Emotion takes the wheel, and logic, reason, and clarity get pushed aside. Think about how many mistakes in life come from reacting emotionally. How many words have been spoken in anger that could never be taken back? How many relationships have been broken because someone acted on impulse instead of patience? How many opportunities have been lost because frustration made someone give up too soon? Emotion is powerful, it is overwhelming, it makes everything feel urgent, immediate, and impossible to ignore. But the truth is, emotions are temporary. They rise, they fall, they come, they go. The damage they cause, however, can last much longer. Imagine a fire spreading in a dry forest. It starts with a single spark, one small trigger, a careless word, a minor inconvenience, a misunderstanding. But if that spark catches, if it is not contained, it spreads fast. That is what happens when emotions take over. A small frustration turns into rage. A slight setback turns into despair. A passing comment turns into resentment. And before you know it, your entire state of mind is consumed by the fire. The decisions you make in that state will not be wise. They will not be thoughtful. They will not lead to progress. They will lead to regret. Wisdom does not exist in an emotional storm. Wisdom requires clarity. It requires distance. It requires the ability to step back and observe rather than being swept away. The strongest minds are not the ones that never feel emotion. They are the ones that do not let emotion dictate their actions. They feel the anger, but do not speak out of it. They feel the pressure, but do not act on it. They feel the pressure, but do not break under it. Instead, they pause, they breathe, they wait for wisdom to return before making a move. In every situation, there are two choices: react or respond. Reacting is instant, it is unfiltered, it is driven by whatever emotion is strongest in the moment. Responding is different. Responding requires control, it requires awareness, it requires taking a breath and choosing an action that aligns with your goals, your values, your purpose. People who react live in a cycle of regret. People who respond live in a state of mastery. Think about the most successful people, the greatest leaders, the individuals who inspire others. They are not the ones who lash out, who lose their temper, who make impulsive choices. They are the ones who remain composed, who maintain perspective, who refuse to let temporary emotions dictate permanent decisions. They know that control over their emotions is control over their life. They understand that every moment of frustration is an opportunity to practice discipline. Every moment of anger is a test of patience. Every difficult situation is a chance to grow stronger. Mastering emotions is a skill, and like any skill, it takes practice. It takes training. It takes self-awareness. It takes the willingness to pause when everything in you wants to react. It takes learning to ask the right questions. Is this emotion real or is it temporary? Will this feeling matter in an hour, in a day, in a year? If I act on this emotion now, will I regret it later? The more you ask these questions, the more you train yourself to respond instead of react. And the more you master this, the more powerful you become. You become the person who stays calm in chaos. You become the person who makes decisions with clarity instead of confusion. You become the person people look to for guidance because they know you do not get shaken by every passing emotion. That is real strength. That is wisdom in action. That is how you take control of your life. Greatness isn't built in comfort, it's built in the fire. Comfort is easy, comfort is safe, comfort feels good, but nothing extraordinary comes from a place of ease. Nothing world-changing, life-altering, or truly powerful is ever created by someone who stays where it's comfortable. Growth does not happen in the familiar. Strength is not built in the absence of struggle. The people who rise, the people who achieve, the people who leave a mark on this world, they are the ones who step into the fire and refuse to turn back. Fire refines, it burns away weakness, it exposes flaws, it forces transformation. In the fire, there is no room for pretense, no space for pretending to be strong when you are not. The fire will test you, it will reveal who you truly are. And that is why so many people run from it. They avoid the difficult path. They choose the road of least resistance. They stay in the same routines, the same environments, the same habits that feel familiar. But nothing changes in the familiar. Nothing grows without challenge. Think about a blade being sharpened. The metal does not become sharp by being left alone. It must be ground against stone, shaped by pressure, refined by friction. The same is true for people. Pressure builds strength. Struggle builds endurance. Hardship builds character. Every great leader, every champion, every person who has reached the highest levels of success has been tested by fire. They have faced moments of doubt, failure, and pain, but instead of breaking, they embrace the process. They allow the fire to shape them. They refuse to let discomfort make them quit. It is easy to admire greatness from a distance. It is easy to look at the champions, the legends, the world changers, and think they were simply gifted, that they had something special from the start. But what most people don't see is the struggle, the sacrifice, the nights of self-doubt, the battles fought in silence. They don't see the failures that came before the success. They don't see the pain that was endured before the triumph. Every great story has moments of fire, moments where quitting would have been easier, where walking away seemed like the logical choice. But the ones who achieve greatness are the ones who refuse to give in to comfort. They are the ones who keep going, even when everything in them wants to stop. Comfort is deceptive. It makes you believe you are safe when in reality you are stuck. It whispers that you are doing enough when deep down you know you could be more. It convinces you that growth is optional, that risk is too dangerous, that effort is not worth it. But the truth is, staying in comfort is the riskiest thing of all. Because Comfort breeds stagnation. Comfort keeps you trapped in the same patterns, living the same year over and over again, never pushing past the limits that hold you back. The fire, however, offers transformation. It is uncomfortable. It is painful. It demands everything from you. But in return, it gives you strength. It gives you wisdom. It gives you resilience. Every time you step into discomfort, you expand your limits. Every time you choose discipline over ease, you build endurance. Every time you refuse to quit when things get hard, you become stronger than you were before. This is the process of greatness. This is what separates those who achieve from those who only dream. There will always be moments of struggle. There will always be obstacles, setbacks, failures. These are not signs to stop. They are signs to push harder. Every setback is an opportunity. Every failure is a lesson. Every difficulty is a test. The fire is not there to destroy you. It is there to shape you. It is there to refine you into the person you were meant to be. Most people look for a way around the fire. They look for shortcuts, for easy paths, for quick results. But the ones who understand what it takes to be great do not avoid the fire. They walk through it. They embrace it. They understand that the struggle is not the enemy. The enemy is comfort, complacency, and the fear of stepping into the unknown. You have a choice. You can stay where it is comfortable, where it is easy, where nothing changes, or you can step into the fire and let it shape you into something greater. The fire will test you, but if you endure it, if you embrace it, if you refuse to quit, you will come out stronger, sharper, and more powerful than you ever imagined. Discipline over doubt, peace over panic, faith over fear. Life is a constant battle between the choices we make in every moment. The mind is always torn between the easy path and the right path, between what is comfortable and what is necessary, between the voice of doubt and the voice of discipline. And the ones who win, the ones who succeed, the ones who rise above are the ones who choose discipline when doubt whispers, who choose peace when panic sets in, who choose faith when fear tries to take control. Doubt is natural. It creeps in when you least expect it. It questions your ability, your worth, your dreams. It makes you hesitate when you should act. It makes you second guess yourself when you already know what needs to be done. But discipline is stronger than doubt. Discipline says, I don't care how I feel. I don't care if I'm uncertain. I don't care if the path ahead isn't clear. I am showing up. I am doing the work. I am pushing forward no matter what. Discipline does not wait for motivation. Discipline does not negotiate with doubt. It acts regardless of the emotions trying to hold it back. Panic is loud. It makes everything feel urgent, like a storm inside your mind. It rushes you into decisions you are not ready to make. It blinds you to the solutions that are right in front of you. But peace is powerful. Peace is the ability to step back when everything around you is moving too fast. Peace is the strength to breathe, to think, to observe before acting. When you choose peace over panic, you take control of the situation instead of letting the situation control you. Panic leads to mistakes. Peace leads to clarity, and clarity is what separates those who survive from those who thrive. Fear is the biggest liar. It tells you that you are not enough. It tells you that you will fail. It tells you that you are not ready, that you are not capable, that you should turn back. But faith is fearless. Faith says, I may not have all the answers, but I believe in my ability to figure it out. I may not know what the future holds, but I trust that I have the strength to face it. I may not see the full path, but I will take the first step anyway. Faith is what allows people to achieve what others thought was impossible. It is what pushes people to keep going when everything in them wants to quit. It is what turns dreams into reality. The difference between those who succeed and those who stay stuck is not talent, not luck, not intelligence. It is the ability to choose discipline over doubt, peace over panic, faith over fear. It is waking up and doing the work even when you don't feel like it. It is staying calm under pressure, even when everything is uncertain. It is believing in yourself, even when no one else does. Because in the end, emotions are temporary. Fear is temporary. Doubt is temporary, but the choices you make in those moments, they last. They define who you are. Success is not built on feelings, it is built on habits, it is built on discipline. The athlete does not win because they feel motivated every day. They win because they train, no matter how they feel. The leader does not succeed because they never doubt themselves. They succeed because they act despite their doubt. The strongest minds are not the ones that never feel fear. They are the ones who refuse to let fear make their decisions. Every storm eventually passes, but what matters most is who you become in the process. Life is full of storms, moments of struggle, uncertainty, pain, and pressure. There will be times when everything feels like it's falling apart, when the weight of your problems feels too heavy to carry, when the road ahead seems too dark to navigate. In those moments, most people focus on one thing: survival. They just want to get through, to make it to the other side, to escape the struggle as quickly as possible. But the real question is not whether you will make it through. The real question is how you will emerge on the other side. Hard times change people. Pressure either breaks you or builds you. Struggles either defeat you or develop you. The difference is in how you respond. Some people go through difficulties and come out bitter, exhausted, and discouraged. Others go through the same kind of struggles and come out stronger, wiser, and more resilient. The same fire that melts metal also hardens steel. The storm itself is not what defines you, your response to it does. Think about the strongest people you know, the ones who inspire you, the ones who seem unshaken no matter what life throws at them. They did not become that way by living an easy life. They became strong because they faced storms and decided to grow instead of break. They chose to learn instead of complain. They chose to find meaning in the struggle instead of letting it define them as victims. Strength is not something you are born with, it is something you build, and it is built in the storm. Most people try to avoid struggles. They do everything they can to escape discomfort, to run from hardship, to find the quickest way out. But what they fail to realize is that the struggle is shaping them. The difficulty is developing them. The challenges they are facing are teaching them lessons that easy times never could. You do not grow when everything is comfortable. You grow when you are pushed beyond your limits, when you are forced to adapt, when you are tested in ways you never expected. A tree that grows in perfect conditions with no wind, no storms, and no challenges develops weak roots. The moment a strong wind comes, it is uprooted and falls. But a tree that grows in harsh conditions, in powerful winds and relentless storms, develops deep roots. Its foundation becomes unshakable. The same is true for you. Every difficulty you face is an opportunity to grow deeper, to become more unshakable, to build a foundation so strong that no storm can break you. You cannot control the storms of life. You cannot always stop hardship from coming, but you can control what you take from it. You can decide whether the storm will leave you broken or whether it will leave you stronger than before. Every struggle holds a lesson. Every hardship has something to teach you. Every difficult moment is a chance to sharpen your character, to build resilience, to develop the kind of mental and emotional strength that will carry you through the rest of your life. People who let the storm define them as victims spend their lives blaming the wind, the rain, the circumstances they could not control. But the ones who refuse to be victims, the ones who decide to rise instead of retreat, they use the storm to their advantage. They take the lessons, they adapt, they grow, they become stronger, wiser, and more prepared for whatever comes next. The truth is, storms do not last forever. No matter how hard it rains, no matter how strong the winds blow, no matter how dark the sky gets, eventually the storm will pass. But when it does, who will you be? Will you be someone who barely survived? Or will you be someone who grew into a version of yourself that nothing can shake? Every struggle is an opportunity. Every hardship is a test of your strength. The question is not whether you will make it through. The question is who you will become because of it. If you choose to let the storm build you instead of break you, you will come out on the other side stronger than you ever thought possible. The mind is like a muscle. What you feed it, how you train it, and what you expose it to determines its strength. Just as the body grows stronger through discipline, repetition, and challenge, the mind becomes powerful through intentional focus, controlled thoughts, and mental resilience. Most people do not realize that their minds are constantly being shaped, either by the world around them or by their own choice. Every thought, every reaction, every habit is either making the mind stronger or weaker. And those who take control of this process, who train their minds with the same discipline that an athlete trains their body, become unshakable in the face of life's challenges. Mental strength is not something you are born with. It is something you build. It is built in the way you think, in the way you respond to setbacks, in the way you handle stress, uncertainty, and pressure. The most powerful minds are not the ones that never feel fear, doubt, or frustration. They are the ones that know how to manage those emotions, how to keep their thoughts in check, how to stay focused even when everything around them is trying to pull them in different directions. The ability to remain steady in chaos, to stay calm in the storm, to keep a clear head when others are losing theirs. That is the power of a trained mind. Training the mind starts with awareness. Most people go through life reacting without thinking, allowing their emotions to dictate their actions, allowing external circumstances to control their internal state. But a trained mind does not react, it responds. A trained mind does not allow external events to dictate internal peace. It sees emotions, acknowledges them, and then decides how to act rather than being controlled by impulsive reactions. This kind of control is not built overnight. It is built through intentional practice, through catching yourself when negativity creeps in, through challenging your own thoughts, through replacing fear with logic, doubt with action, and stress with perspective. One of the greatest signs of mental strength is the ability to control focus. The mind is constantly bombarded with distractions, with noise, with worries, with negativity, but a trained mind knows what to give attention to and what to ignore. It does not waste energy on things that do not matter. It does not allow worry to consume its time. It does not dwell on things it cannot control. Instead, it is disciplined in where it directs its energy, focusing only on what moves it forward. This is what separates those who thrive from those who are stuck, where their attention goes. Those who train their minds know that where focus goes, energy flows. They do not waste time on negativity. They do not dwell on the past. They do not entertain thoughts that weaken them. They choose to focus on solutions instead of problems, on growth instead of limitations, on what is possible instead of what is difficult. Another key to a strong mind is learning how to handle pressure. Pressure is something no one can escape. It is part of life, part of growth, part of the process of becoming stronger. Most people crumble under pressure because they have never trained themselves to handle it. They allow stress to break them instead of shape them. But a trained mind thrives under pressure. It sees pressure not as something to fear, but as something to master. It remains calm, knowing that panic never solves problems. It remains steady, knowing that emotions do not dictate reality. It remains focused, knowing that the only way to overcome a challenge is to think clearly, act decisively, and refuse to be shaken. Building a strong mind requires consistency. Just as a bodybuilder does not gain strength from working out once, the mind does not become strong through occasional effort. It is a daily process. It is in the way you wake up in the morning, in the way you handle setbacks, in the way you push through discomfort instead of running from it. It is in the small choices, choosing discipline over laziness, choosing action over hesitation, choosing patience over frustration, choosing patience over frustration. Every time you choose control over impulse, you strengthen your mind. Every time you remain calm instead of reacting emotionally, you train your mind. Every time you push forward instead of giving up, you build resilience. The power of a trained mind is that it does not depend on external circumstances to find peace. It is steady regardless of what is happening in the world. It is focused regardless of the distractions. It is disciplined regardless of how it feels. And when the mind is strong, nothing can shake it. No fear, no pressure, no challenge. Because true strength is not found in avoiding difficulties, but in mastering the mind that faces them.